All right. Welcome to the stream. It started Monday night. Well, for me, it is. The workday just finished. Got a couple of things on the screen right now. You can see a preview of what we're going to take a look at. Um, but yesterday on stream, we worked through issues with resizing, things like that. Talked about wanting to do some parallax scrolling, mainly because I want to learn how to do it myself. But I also want to experiment with view transitions. And hopefully, when ngconf releases the talks, Mike Hartington's talk on view transitions is one of the ones they do first. Because it was really, really good. And it made me start thinking about just JavaScript and before we get to that point, I do want to actually get the title and byline, right? The author and date up here. And other than that, I do want to get the article printing out here so that we've got the real content. And then we can start looking at that as we start animating and doing things with our article. That's kind of where I want to go with. But let's start out just welcoming. I didn't transition over again. It was a good thing I checked. There we go. Good on both. Look here. Yep, we're looking good there. We're looking good there. Everything's looking good. We can now see what I've got up. And, this header transition is the thing that I want to transition. So, as they scroll up, I want to animate this change so it doesn't just pop like it is. That's part of it. And then as you scroll down, I want to animate. I want this animation to be in steps. So the initial scrolling is going to cause the header to transition like this and transition like and then it will scroll out of frame title. Or maybe the title will move way, I don't know. We'll figure something parallax wise. You can do some pretty cool stuff with parallax. But yeah, that's a lot of the stuff we talked about yesterday. There was some good questions by people who attended the stream yesterday, where we talked through just some programming related stuff in general. But we will focus on CSS, Angular, Analog, all of that. Unless you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer. Let's start with the title. So I want to get the title in here along with the byline in this title header here. Take care of that first. Yeah, we worked through stuff with getting different height and widths for articles. But one thing I didn't check, probably check, just to make sure don't have any issue. We've got the ng optimized image is going on here. Got the hydration stuff. We'll figure this stuff out. Interesting. Oh, I was thinking there wasn't an image. There is an image, but it's just a blue image. We requested farmer. and it gave just a blue image. So here, we've got some water. Dent this size produces. So we can see things drinking. As we scroll, and this is the animation that we're gonna. I think if done right, it should produce kind of a zooming effect on the image, because we're cutting a little bit off the top and bottom as we go through. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I think it'll be fun. But anyway, let's get this title in here first. Then we'll figure out more from there, right? So actually, before we do that, there are a couple of places where we're calling create test article that we should probably transition over to our service. And the reason we want to do that is we're going to be using this service to get content from our CMS. So if we're going to grab content from our CMS, we want everything to go through our article. Like here in our article container, we are calling create test article here, and then articles here. So we need two calls. We need the main article call and then the articles call for this one. So let's go ahead and add that to service. Right now, I'm just going to do get article. And this is going to return again an observable type article model. So there we go. We aren't returning anything, so it's still complaining. So inside of here, we just want to say return of, and all we want to do is just call create test. And that's just going to give us an article now. So we're wrapping the call in an of, so that we get our observable back, which is what we expect when we start calling the CMS. So we'll be calling the CMS, and it will give us back these articles. So now we'll go back to our article container, and here we need to inject create test. Want to, so we're going to inject const here. This is our articles service equals inject the articles. There we go. We've now got our service in place. So now we can just say that, hey, we want to use the article service dot get main article. Great. And this returns an observable. But we really don't want an observable because inside of here, we were using what do we want to call it? Like just a static variable. Instead of that, want to convert this over to a signal, so we can just say toSignal here. This will convert our observable over to a signal, which then allows us to just say, hey, this is our main article. And that's our main article.id. Good. And then with secondary article, we're going to need to create our articles. And again, we need to just say, hey, get articles. We're going to say, so we're returning between 3 and 4 articles. If we go back to the home page, right, we return between 3 and 4. So we'll do the same. We'll call these the most recent articles, or we'll call these highlight articles. That's a good way to go. And then we can figure it out in the future. So here we'll just say get highlight articles. This will return an observable. Our observable will be of type article model. It'll be an array of article models. And here we're just going to return of, and we're just going to copy that code over here. Go into our articles service. And so it's just going to give us back 3 to 4 articles in an array. We're good here. So then in our article container, now we can just say, hey, toSignal articles service dot highlight articles. And we're good there. Which means I should be able to take out the create test article. I don't even think we're using Faker in here any. I think all the rest good with. Then just down here, all we need to do is change this from articles to a signal call. Everything else stays the same. So that cleans that up. So now we can just look. Most of our stuff is in the article service. The only other thing that we need to do is do the all articles. Go clean up, and then that should move everything into. That should move everything into our service, and then we're good to go. So again, we're going to take this code, and we're going to just move it into all our article service. So here, say get all articles. This again will return an observable type article model array. Get out of the way now. Thank you. So again, we're just going to return of and paste in our code, save it, format it for us. Now we've got all of our articles. I'm curious about Copilot. Because it doesn't seem to be working. I think I'm going to just restart my editor, see if that fixes it. But yeah. Restarting. Not signed in. Now I'm ready. So we'll see if it begins working again. I hope it does. Okay, so we updated the article service to have get all articles. So then we just need to update all articles to inject our service. Const. I'll inject. Here we're just going to inject the article service. There we go. We don't need Faker anymore. We don't need test article. Good there. And then all articles will just be our article service. Get all articles. Again, we're going to wrap this in a signal. Go. Down here, we just need to call our signal and we're good to go. So now we're in a good place. It's all built. Now, if we click all articles, we've got our all articles link, their images and their blurbs. So we're good there. The next thing to do is just look at article by itself, and that's all working. That looks really down roads like that in the past. So now if we go back to the home, everything is working as expected. So let's go ahead and commit this because we cleaned up a whole bunch of code and now everything's using services. Good place to just kind of commit. So we take a look and just make sure that any of the changes that are in here make sense. Page it. These changes, so we got inject, toSignal, the article service, all of that. Page it. And these all make sense too. And so now we'll just say that we use the tools get. We're good to go. So now we're in a good place where we can start working with title. Close that. Close the config. Close our .html. We're going to leave this open because author here. Go ahead and add that right now. Down here after the title, we'll just do author. And I'm going to just hard code this to E. Because this is my blog, my CMS. No, I'm kidding. The main reason I'm doing it is, well, I don't have to do. I can just do. We can destructure author up here. And the order doesn't matter. I'm just ordering it in a way that makes sense in my head. So the title, the author, the content, the URL. So I'm doing the same thing here. It doesn't matter. We can just say author or faker.name full name. Doesn't like faker.name. Name is deprecated. Person. Faker.person. full name. There we go. So now we've got our person as part of the faked article. So now we can use that in our article itself. So here, got our article URL. Oh, so this was an interesting thing. Because the article changes. Article ID changes based on the ID of the page. We go here in our title. Well, the first thing we can do is for our title, let's just remove the background. Don't. Muscle memory is still way off, so I don't hit the arrow keys properly when I'm trying to navigate. Here for the image background, we also don't, well, interesting because we go here, we get this green. We're still getting the red. But this should be a fairly light color. 30% of that. Refresh this. We hover over HSL, alpha value, the number or a percent. So we can see we get the hue, the percentage, and then alpha value. And then the modern is hue, percentage or number for number, then a slash alpha value. Like we make this like 5%. That should be really, really translucent, transparent. Oh, look at that. 5% is pretty. What if we do 15%? And it might just be that the green is so dark that we aren't seeing the alpha value very well. I like that reflection. Kind of messing with my head a little bit there for a bit. But we should also make this background color to make it one of the theme colors, because and take like take the cyber bright yellow, refresh this, kind of a sickly color there. Go back to the a little bit less offensive to the eyes, right? But we look, that green is fine with this, but really what we probably want is like the secondary color. So what we can do, we can just say, hey, we want to color mix this. We want to say that we want to do it in the OKLab. And the reason we want to do it in OKLab is because OKLab gives us safe color spaces when we do our mixing. And what you can do is you can say like theme, and here we can say secondary. I think it's just secondary color. Then we can say like 15%. And what this does in and I think this works. We'll see if it works. Might need to do something different with the but in OK, when you do color mix, if your colors don't match up to a full 100%, then what happens is this mix winds up being an alpha blend. I think it probably will explain it to us here. Use color and percentage. Got a note here, but it's not showing the full. Go look. So in color mix, you can provide a color 1 and 2, and if you do that, then it mixes, right? But then there is the notion of percentages between 0 and 100%. If you omit the percentages, then it's an equal mix of 50-50. If P1 is omitted, then P1 equals 100% minus P2. So if you do like, color 1 with no percentage, comma, color 2, comma, 20%, then that becomes an 80% of color 1 and 20% of color 2. And then, the same, like if you provide a percentage but none for the second, then, subtracts. But they're both 0, then the function is invalid. And when P1 plus P2 does not equal 100%, then the P1 delta equals P1 divided by P1 plus P2. P2 equals P2 divided by P. So basically, you calculate a delta that's a percentage. So it normalizes the colors. So like if you do like say you do P1 is 50% and P2 is 75% or 25%. Or you could even do like P1 equals 100%, P2 equals 100%. That doesn't equal 100, but what it would do is it would normalize it to 100 divided by 100 plus 100, so 50% and 50%. So it does normalization. But there is also notion of so color 1, color 2. You can mix in any color space, right? Here they're doing HSL. They're telling you that they want to do just the hue mixing, so just the first part. So you can target specific parts of your colors too. But is a way. There was a way to do. It looks like I may have misunderstood that. We'll see. We'll see if our stuff does alpha. If it doesn't, then we'll just mix background color in. We'll just do 15% with the color. But anyway, it's broken right now. Inspect and look. So here, that's the image div. We've added a back. Aren't seeing before and after. There's the data. It's saying that the background color is overridden. Or no, that's grayed out because it hasn't changed. Or our background hasn't changed. Let's look at Tailwind. And let's go to the docs. In the docs, we want to search for the function. Search for other values. Default theme. That is not what we want. I think it's down here at the bottom anyway. So role behavior. We want align. That might be what we do. Forms, transitions, and transitions. We will be looking at view transitions. Know if Owen can act borders backgrounds. Basic. Functions and directives. Theme. Spacing.12. So I'm doing this wrong. I think it is color dot. Is that it? They've got colors dot. Okay. That's what we want to do. So we can just say colors dot prime. Colors dot secondary. So that should give us the color that we want. It didn't do it. What's going on? Here we go. It is doing it. Our color mix isn't working. Oh, look at this. Theme just allows us to do alpha blend on it anyway. So I don't even have to figure out the color mix, what I'm doing wrong with that. So let's do that instead. Off the color mix. Just do a 50 on that should allow us. So if we go do something like Cyberpunk, we refresh, getting that horrible green there, like a light theme. Might go lighter than that. And the only reason I'm doing it is just to show where stuff should go. Go back to it fits a little better and also make this like a 5% and let it be. Here we've got that blue background. We don't really need it. We also don't need the min height. Go. And format. It would be nice to have the prettier plugin for this. If there is one. Prettier makes stuff so much easier. And it's to the point now where I don't think about it too much. When I have to reformat, think about, okay, how should this be? Let's get the title. I got distracted with here. The title will go here. We're just going to say that it is the article title. We'll take a look at this again. Why are we broken? Because article.title is undefined. There we go. We can now see that and this is kind of the downside to what we're doing. Probably use like a store or something. I just use a store. But because we're wrapping, we take a look up here. Our article is wrapped in, so it's an observable being wrapped in this. That's why we're getting, why we need this. One thing we could probably do, I don't know. It doesn't matter too much. We're actually going to convert this over to article title input. Or not title input, a title component. If I want. Probably should. Yeah, let's do it. I was debating it, just mainly being lazy, wanting to get through things, but we really should just create the the article title. We'll go ahead and just create a yeah, I think this one might do the analog file. So we'll just call this our article dash title. Yeah, already does it. So it's a nice template, WebStorm. So here we want to define metadata on this, and we want our host have a class of the class on our host to be block level component. And on inside of our block, what we really want it to be is a display flex and then flex column. And I think we do want the items dash. Do we? No. We want to experiment with something here. So here, we want our H3. And our H3 is going to have an input on it. So here we can just say const title equals put dot required. We'll import that, and it's going to be a string. So it's a required string input. So we can just come here and we can just say that this is the title. Our H. There we go. And then below this, what we want is just a div. And this div, we want a class on it that does we'll go look at Tailwind again. Look at a it is text dash right. So we'll do that. And actually we could probably do text dash end just in case we ever do our blog in a language that's left to right or right to left, not left to right. The other thing we want to do is want to text dash small text okay. Here we'll have another required input, and we'll just call this the byline. So up here, also say that byline and we're going to make this also required. Dot required of type string. There we go. So now we've got our title and our byline. So now we can come back to our article page, and here and just say, so don't need this to be title, but we could cheat and we could do flex and then items dash because we want our title to be centered. And that's one way to do that. And then here we can just say that we want our blog dash article title. So we'll need to import our article title. So just come here, go to the end, and we can just say import. Here we just say article title from it's dot, not even dot slash index slash dash title analog. And we want dot component dot analog. Go rename this to be dot component dot analog. So we can come back here, and we want to do the with log port component. And now we probably are getting errors, but we clean that up. We've got our blog dash article title. And this actually isn't what it is. It is now article title. And our inputs are title, which we will send as article title. And then the other thing that we want on here is our byline, which will be, we'll calculate this as computed. We're going to need to create a computed in our scripts. So up here, say const byline equals computed. Still this for now, but we don't have a byline. It's actually article author, and let's article.author space. Here we want to get the date from our date service. So if we go look at our full our main full, our article blurb. Look at our article blurb. We used a service to help us, our date time helper. Grab the same thing. And we can see that we're just using the date time helper to do blog article date. So we will do the same thing here. So in our page, we want to import our date time helper. There we go. And that is not the right import. This should be from add blog. Wait, what is the This is in the wrong place too. This should be in the title. Save that. Title. Oh, it shouldn't be in. Should be in the article because we're passing it. I was in the right place originally. I can guess myself. So let's go ahead and import this. That is the wrong import. We need to grab it from. Can I run this project? Absolutely. We're running it in the background. And welcome, hello 145. We'll take a look at this as soon as I get this date time helper in place. So if we go take a look at article blurb, it actually comes Angular blog / date. So Angular blog / date. There's our helper. So in our computed, we will just run here. We're going this a date time helper to blog article date, and we're just going to give it our article dot. There we go. So this should. So now we're running this. I've got some issues because we're trying to access stuff that's fine. But let's go take a look. To show you how we're running it, I'll go ahead and stop it. So they know we're not going to terminate that. So to run it, we just do an nx serve with the Angular blog. I don't have nx installed globally, so I'm using pnpm to run the local one. And then when we hit this, it's going to compile it. Going to run the Angular blog serve development, filing it in the background. Whatever reason. 5 message. That's a little bit funny. All of this. It's a bit crazy that it's taking this. Is something interesting with let me bring this over and show you guys. So for whatever reason on Windows, I'm having some trouble with analog where it's just leaving a whole bunch of node servers. It looks like we don't have a ton of terminal services running. We do. So here we go. We've got these console hosts. And the console host is what's by the, it may not be analog. This could be Windows 11 being special. But when I get into the state, I basically have to kill all of these. And you can see that we're still broken here. So now I've got to go find all of these command processors. And again, we're just going to kill all of these. Cleans up some more stuff. And then the Node.js servers. Got to clean all of these up. Node spawn server and that one, that one, that one. And you're going to see down here that I've killed some stuff to do with killed the different processors for WebStorm. And then here, we're just going to kill some more processors. That's going to kill all of that. So it's a little bit frustrating. I'm not sure what causes it. The cleanup is pretty easy, but it is frustrating to have to go through this every time it freezes. And I haven't had to do this in the past, so I'm not sure what causes. But we're gonna restart WebStorm. Go ahead and kill that. Start web. And probably I should just move from the pre-release to the full release version. But in the meantime, open terminal. So now I should be able to do my PNPM NX serve the Angular blog, and things shouldn't get stuck. We'll see. There we go. And so now it's building it. There we go. Now we've got this up and running, and all of my stuff is running properly. GitHub is all running properly. So we're good. So let's go take a look. We've got this broken thing, right? Because it can't read title of undefined. This is coming from here. If I just set that to be a question mark there, down here, gonna have, or it's up. Gonna have a problem with my byline also. Here we're grabbing the author and the date we need that to. And the reason for that is that we're getting all of this stuff at runtime, and so it's changing. Now we can see that, there we go. So Eddie wrote this 23 days ago, and we want to make this bigger. And then when it overflows, we want, no, we don't want that. We definitely don't want that. But let's make this an H1. Ooh. We'll come down here and, oh, nope, it's in our article title where we, in our article title, we're just going to make this an H1. There we go. That should make our text bigger. No, it doesn't. Go ahead and inspect this and make sure it is an H1. No, it's still an H3. Why didn't that file? Definitely an H1. Refresh and see if we get the other thing, it doesn't appear to be centering this. Yeah, it's so align items center. I also think we need a place items, place con. And so now if we look, our line items is right there in the center, and then our content is in the center. See, when we hover over it, the flex is now. So this is behaving how we would expect it to. So here on this div, we want the item center, and we also want the leave. And I'm just cheating for a way to center these. I'm using flex to do it. So if we take a look, this flex, flex has the align item center. I need to look up the Tailwind place. And we could do like a place self. So we could say like place self center, right? Add that to the grid. So you can see here there's a place self start, place self center is in the middle and in the end. We could also use place items, right? So place items center, I'm going to place them in probably what we want. Instead of items center, we want place items, which looks like it's a combination of both place and items. And that should, we go back to my app, this. Here, place items center. If we can get a smaller type. Of course not. There we go. Oh. Got an issue here. Here, the place item center is still there. Really don't need the center. What we want is left to right. Place dash items dash center. So this is all grid. If we do justify content, that's going to go in this. We do that. Justify center. So instead, we do justify center. And then the other thing we want to do is for the title, giving it 150 pixels. Just do min content. That way it's going to shrink down to size of the content. So now we've brought the article up and inspect it. Look at the flex. See that we're basically end to end because of the size. So see if we can get a smaller tab again. Back to this. We can see that the justify center is doing what we want, pushing it in between the two sides. And then the min content is shrinking it down to fit just within what we want. That is good. But still aren't getting our tag here. And we probably want to make our text XML also for our byline. Not sure why that's not. Text-gray isn't doing anything. Blurb. Here we've got the title. We're using the truncate. The content. There's the article date. We're using opacity. Just copy the same stuff over. Could create our own like Tailwind plugin for this, and maybe we will. But for right now, that up. Now everything updated. Our title is so long, and Doug Kurtzman the Fourth. A great name. Get a smaller title. Well, so there's a couple of things to think about here. And I'm trying to decide. So this isn't too bad, right? This title is small, doesn't look too bad. One thing we could probably do here is just give it gap, just to pull things apart a little bit. So now we aren't right on top of things. There we go. Full image. So we're small. And that's cool. What I'm concerned about is, yeah, like this isn't really a good look. All of this, but I don't. Trying to think like what would be the best way to handle it. Um, hmm. Probably the best way to handle this is with container queries. That might be the right way to do this. So if we inspect this, our H1 has a font size of 2.25 rem, line height of 2.5 rem. What we could do what size is that now that I've turned it off? But what we could do is based on the container query, we could shrink the size of the title to fit. That's probably the right way to handle this. So if we go take a look at our software, if we go take a look at our text size, right? Our font size here. Got extra small, which is 0.75. Base is 1 rem with a 1.5. So our H3 right now is by itself. Inspect our H1 is 2.25 and 2.5. What that tells me is that our H1 is at a 4XL. What we could probably do is if we have a smaller container size, we could go to an XL and then use a text large or a text base based on our container query. So just to start out, we could just do text. So on our H1, we could do class equals text dash base. And so this is our mobile first approach, right? So if we go back to our app, this is text base, right? Which looks okay on an iPhone size and even at this size. I mean, it's not going to be any bigger than the stuff, than the article content, but that's okay. So here we could probably do with more size, right? And so we could probably say that like at medium, we want to go to so here, this is mobile medium, mobile large, and then tablet. 768 pixels. So if we look up at our breakpoints in here, we've got tablet. Now those are the ones value. So here, small is 640 pixels. So anything above 640 pixels. So medium is where. So we can say that the next thing we do is medium is text. Here we can go to 2XL, and then anything large and above will go to text 4XL, which is what we were using before. This will allow our title to scale decently. Let's find a realistic title. Like that title's not too bad. It's a little long. That one's getting better. So here we go. You know, a reasonably small title as we drop down in size. So at this breakpoint, we're good. At this breakpoint, we go here, right? I mean, we're still wrapping at small breakpoints, but you know, things are getting better. And then as we go to laptop, then we go to the size, right? And so that's allowing us to go mobile first with our titles, which is helpful, right? We don't want to be taking up a ton of space with our you know, with our titles when we're at a small range, like a small size. So it's always good to check this out. So hello, you said it's like the API. Next, yeah, it is all about small screen to large screen. I feel like I should know. Name looks from. Name just seems really familiar, and I don't know why. But yeah, you're absolutely right on that part. Yeah, we're trying to you know, align our stuff properly, and we also, you know, we really, it's really rare that you run into like a phone this small. When you're getting into phones this small, they're usually older phones, um, and things like that. You know, you can typically like really small. Um, So Bill, this is the smallest size we designed for 375, I believe. It might be 380. I don't remember what the breakpoint is, but that's the smallest size we designed for. Um, Typically, I like to make sure that hey, we look good on an iPhone SE or an you know the various iPhone sizes because iPhones are the most common phone for people to you know to browse on. I also like to make sure that it's going to look good on a Pixel because that's I use a Pixel 7. Um, but you know, in the long run, just making sure that things look good at these smaller sizes is going to help you quite a bit. So yeah, definitely you know make sure that as you're designing, even even if your company doesn't do responsive, um, you know, you may not have to design responsively for your company, but I recommend just looking at your stuff here because here's the thing. I once worked on a project that was supposed to be desktop only, laptop only, right? Until the CEO of the company started wanting to use our website on his iPhone. And then suddenly everything was horrible. So you know your company may not have a responsive design in mind when you're designing, but if you take the time to go in and take a look and just make sure, oh yeah, this looks good, um, or even if it looks terrible, you don't necessarily have to fix it, but having something that looks terrible and then taking it to like your designers or your PM or somebody and saying, hey, have you seen this? May encourage them to be like, oh, we should fix that, right? And you never really never know who's going to use your app on a phone. Um, the crazy thing, um, just from like experience with different companies, is the people who use phones the most are like teens to early 20s, and then really old people. And then in the middle, you get a good mix. A lot of people tend to lean more towards phones in the middle, but you'll get desktops and tablets and stuff. And even the really old people are going to be the ones that are going to cause problems with tablets too. They tend to be the ones that carry around tablets a lot too. And then the other crazy thing, um, like when you get into, um, I'm saying really old people, and here I am, right, with gray hair and whatever. But when you get into the like the older generation, they're the ones that are going to come in and they're gonna they're gonna go here and you watch, and it's not here. You watch, like your parents or your grandparents or somebody, when they go into their app, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to go here and they're going to go to Zoom and they're going to go boom, 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 right? Um, and so notice we shrunk, right? Our font size shrunk here. We're broken though, because this, I I broke this, right? It contained this. Um, so we'll need to fix that. But if you notice that as we increase the font size, our font changes. And this is the other benefit to a mobile first approach. So as we go boom, 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 right? As the font size gets bigger, even though it's growing, it's actually shrinking for because of our responsive design. And so know your audience, right? Um, and know how they're going to use it. Um, realize that how you envision your website working may not be the way that your users want to use it. And this is one of the big reasons why when I talk with designers, a lot of times I'll push back on pixel perfect designs because I have no control over somebody going and making my screen 300%, right? Um, suddenly my site, I've got no control over this. And I made it 400%, right? But there's just no control over that kind of stuff. And these are good things to teach to like your PMs, your POs, and your designers if they're really dead set on a pixel perfect design. Go into your browser and just hit control or command and then hit plus a few times and be like, okay, what do we do now? They're like, oh, nobody's ever going to do that, and say, well, this is very necessary for people, people with disabilities are going to go in and make the font sizes much bigger. And that's a big accessibility thing, right? So by doing pixel perfect designs, sometimes you're breaking accessibility. You know, don't fight against it to the point where you become like a huge pain, but um, it doesn't hurt to educate people that um, just because we have a design in mind doesn't mean that that design is going to work. Same as a project done for work last year, done first in desktop and then the people using tablets for on-site operation. Lucky were web components, right? And again, you may not have the time to solve it, and so I'm not suggesting that you just go in and you solve these problems, because that's not the best use of your time. If responsive fixes are not something you're supposed to be doing, if you're supposed to be, don't get yourself in trouble at work doing responsive stuff. However, if your stuff is not responsive, take some time to go, to the people who have power to change it and just show them and be like, hey, Have you seen what this looks like on a phone? Seen what this looks like when we zoom in to 200 or 300%, right? And especially if you're at so like we have accessibility mandates from our partners still. We partner with people, we have to meet certain accessibility requirements. Um, and so, looking at the site with huge letters is something that to do to make sure we're meeting our accessibility. So yeah, definitely think that through. And in the long run, it's going to help. Yeah, let's get this last piece in place, and then we can start looking at the parallax scroll power. Hoping that the parallax scrolling doesn't take too long, but I have no idea. I've never done it before, so it's going to be something that is definitely for me. Just figuring out how to do this. So let's take a look here. The content. Right now, we're just grabbing the article as JSON. Take off the pre-tag. And really, we can just do article, the content. There we go. So now we've got our article content out there. And it's not very big. So it's not very helpful. So we're getting a little bit of scroll here, which shows me that I've got a problem because I'm still constraining this to this height. And this was something that I did. Have overflow X. Shouldn't be. Go back. There we go. Now we've got our scrolling. Right now we've got like a few sentences. So let's go look and just see in our article model. Right now our content is set to a sentence count between 10 and 40. Oh no, this is just a single paragraph. Between 10 and 40. I think we can change this to be paragraphs. Now we're going to generate between 10 and 40 paragraphs of lorem ipsum. And so now our article is a lot bigger. Here we go. See what else we can do with our paragraphs. If we hover, so we can get between min and max. There's paragraph 3. Two paragraphs with a BR at the end. That's between 1 and 3 paragraphs. We find this. Let's go to Faker.js. In the dev guide, we're going to go take a look at the iReference. Side of here, we'll look at the lorem paragraphs. We've got a paragraph max and a paragraph min. Exact same document before. What I was hoping to do was generate enough paragraphs. other thing would be nice is if I could wrap the paragraphs in tags. Can we use to generate some text between paragraphs? Well, slug generates text method. The text method, words, throws an error if no words of the given length, shortest, closest. Word count. What we want. Paragraphs is what we want. But what we can do is close this gap a bit and say that we want between like 30 and 50 paragraphs. That's going to give us a huge amount of text, I hope. Oh, yeah. But the paragraphs are all run together. So the other thing we can do is we can just say, hey, we look, we've got a separator. So we can just say BR separate. We'll do 2. /n. Give us a line break. Doesn't matter. We're going to be looking at the. Don't really care. Just give us an idea of what our stuff would look like in paragraph. And it's just adding BR. That's awesome. Because it's being interpreted as a string. But that's okay. With this much text, we can at least get our scrolling strategy in place. So, this is a good short article size. And this will probably be the size that we generate with, with the AI when we get into that. If we look at this at an iPhone size, so 14, you can see that's a significant amount of text to read on an iPhone. Well, it's a significant amount of text, I guess, now if you look at it on a. But things are looking good. So we're in a good place. And, things shrinking down and looking decent at these sizes is good. We'll commit where we are. Don't want to make. I just don't want to miss stuff. Let's commit this, and then let's start looking at the parallax scroll. About a half hour. Can't figure it out in a half hour. It's going to be much more difficult than I expected. So just say that we added ability to display article responsive and hit that and push it. Now we're at a safe place to experiment. Take a look. It would take. Experiment with this. So the goal is, as we scroll up, to animate this change. Because right now we're just kind of popping. So before we even do the parallax scrolling, it would be nice to get the animation effect in place that allows this to happen. So that goes back to something that I had pulled up in the very beginning. New transition. And I got this idea from Matt Hardington, ng-conf. Right now, transitions are only supported in Chrome and IE, not IE. This is Edge, Chrome and Edge. Firefox and Safari don't support them. We can look at the full compatibility down here in the bottom. The start view transition is an experiment. It's been enabled in Edge or Chrome and Edge since version 1.11. Firefox doesn't have it. Opera does. Safari doesn't. So our animations won't work in Firefox and Safari. There's an asterisk here. Not sure what that. That's cool. You install the MDN web doc. Debug 25905. So it looks like there's a Safari bug. But full support is in place in Chrome and Edge. So people will see our transitions. So to do this, there's a whole bunch of stuff we can read over, but what we want to do is so here the display new image. Basically, what view transitions allow us to do is we can call start view transition. And right now, view transitions are global. So when you enable view transitions, it's across the whole page. And then you can start using the view transition overlay. So, you can give transition names to different elements. Take a look here, right? So inside of our CSS, we can actually, change old and stuff like that. We can add keyframes. So here, we can say where we want the transforms to happen, and then our keyframes are grow and our shrink. So, when we grow or shrink, and then down here we can see that, for this view transition, they're growing and shrinking in the X direction. But don't think we need, I think we can just use the view transition pseudo selector. So when document.viewTransition is called, the API takes a screenshot of the current page. Next, the callback pass to start view transition is invoked. In this case, display new image, which causes the DOM to change. When the callback has run successfully, then we call the update done. So here, what we can do is we have our click handle. And we're calling the resize function. So just test this out. We can inject our document. We can say const document equals inject document. Perfect. And then down here in our resize function, can say just want to go document start view train. Inside of here, we're going to move all of this. Go. And it doesn't like that because it's probably saying, yeah, the document doesn't have start view transition. We'll override that here in a second. You may not have to. Start compile not working. Go and we'll just refresh this to make sure. There we go. Let's go look at our scripts. Pop our window out. Main.ts here. And pages article here. Okay, so we don't have the view transition in place right now, which is probably because it's breaking. What we can do, do this. We can just, well, the easiest way to do this is to go document as any start view. That compiled. We've broken something else. Go look at our no provider for document. Which is true. What I meant is window. We want to inject. Well, no, that's be able to inject documents. There we go. All caps document is the document we wanted. That's the injection token that Angular common gives us to inject the window document. So it's an injection token that gives us back the document. And that's going to allow us to work with SSR too. Now, okay, so our resize is working. We go take a look. Take a look at our source. Get up pages, pulls. So our start view transition is working because we are getting this callback. So the next thing we can do is let's go ahead and dock this here. Instead of looking at sources, back to our dock this, and then that I'm not hit up, but I want to hit escape here because I want to get this bottom window. And inside of here, there's this gear. Here we go. Our animation. Click this and see we're getting an animation effect. So we can pop this out and we can see this animation. So there's some changes here and back. Here's our animations. And so we can grab these and we can see what's going. Can't I allowing me to move it? But as I click these animations back. Oh, we can see that are getting view transitions because we're getting view transition groups here. So we could say view transition old, transition new. We can set our time to show this board because right now it's going 250 milliseconds. Let's slow this way down to see what's actually happening. So it's immediately changing the and then we're waiting for it. Wondering if we're missing. Like if I comment this out, and we run this again. Gosh. Not getting. I'm missing something in this view transition. So the grow shrink. We're doing high. stop the default styling from inner custom animation. I think this is what we want here. So we should be able to just will be on the root here. Actually, you know what? Don't even need to do that because we can target it, right? So we can target in the view transition stuff. Give it a view transition name. So here inside of our image, we can give it a view transition name of transition image, and here we can do the same. And this is kind of new stuff, so go. Still getting the jumpy stuff. We look at our animation. Oh, of course we're getting the jumpy stuff. One thing that I'm curious about is where did my here's my image. This is the image class here. This is the one that we're applying the view transition to, and that we're changing the height of. This is the image here, but I'm actually not seeing content. Here it is, right? Let's turn our view transition back on. What is going on here? Don't need that. Yes, we've got the callback going on now. When I've got the nations turned way down. I've got them set at 10%. So let's refresh this. Still jumpy. We can see here we are animating the image fade in. So view transition group, view transition image. Got the new root, but we don't have. Here we go. Got from old to new. about why this isn't. One of the things that's bothering me, our image isn't showing up. ng source should be article URL, which is a computed. We could test this by just saying, hey, console.log image URL. Let's see what we get out of this. Image URL is undefined, and then it's what we would expect at the top. But for whatever reason, I accidentally highlighted something. The other thing we're not seeing is the title. We're getting the article. We're not getting the title or the image. Why is that the case? Because we are getting the image URL. And we can see that here. Let's dock this to the, go back. So turn this off. Really, we should just do that and that. And down here in the image, turn off the view transition name. And then we will also turn this stuff off. And that should put us back to where we were before. Rebuild this. We inspect this. We look specifically at image. Got the back. There's nothing here related to there's really nothing here related to the only thing that's not working, the binding. What's the title? There's the title. Let's say min height dash work height. The problem we've got here is our title grid area been collapsed. That's one of the issues we've got. We take a look at this grid here. So min content doesn't work. What is max content? So fit. We had it at 150 pixels before. Still don't have our title. And it was working just fine before we tried the view transition stuff. Let me go see what else we've changed. So here, rejecting the document, logging that, we've commented this stuff, commented this out and that out. I'm just curious, if I discard these changes, let's cancel that. I want to stash these changes so we can bring them back. Now we work. And the min content is working just fine. So if I pop this dash, then we're back to where we were, and we get this. So the other thing that we've got is this document. Wonder if I'm colliding with something. So let's just do, we'll do underscore underscore XYZ and just see if it's a potential name collision. That is not the case. So let's comment this out too. That's all commented out. I'm curious if I will just flat out delete this stuff. May not be handling the commenting properly. I'm just going to flat out delete this. Everything else is commented out. Still nothing. That matches that. What has changed? So we're still importing document. By taking that out. Oh. The bad import. Because basically what that was doing is it was importing it and then putting it into the imports array, and we don't want that. Is exactly the problem that we were having, is that with analog imports, that's making me think a bit about using this syntax. This syntax is potentially dangerous because the document was imported into something with that same syntax, and you can't mix that together. And so I'm curious if I now do this, and here add the transition dash. just call this well, and we may not even need that yet, but we can see that it's already doing something here because we can see the view transition popping in. It's view dash transition view. So when we take a look at this, I think we've got some transition stuff going on. I don't think that's the way that image is supposed to look, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. Our transition isn't happening. Take a look at our console here. Refresh this. So grid turned on, off. Look at our console. So when I click here, notice that it's resized, but the resizing hasn't. When I click again, now it's saying it's at 60, but it's not. Now it's saying it's at the full size, but it's not. So we're one transition behind, but we're getting closer to figuring out how this works. So here, well, one thing we can do, we can pop this out again, and we should be able to see the animations taking place now. So when I click here, here's our animation. Yes, I can't replay these for whatever reason. We've got view transition new, image transition. So we're going from new to old and old to new. Trying to figure out. So when I click here again, we get another animation. Same animation. Really weird that I can't click on any of these. Because usually within the animations, you can replay the animations and pause the animations. Like if we slow this down to 25%, but we can see that this blend mode, getting fade in and fade out transition. We're not getting is an animation of the height. If we get a smooth animation, it's actually going to appear like things are that's a view transition name going on. Means to go here. This here. To image dash transition. And we'll make this 0.5 seconds. Not right. So here is our animation stuff. When I click here, still at 250 milliseconds. Click that. Again, click that. We can see the animation trying to run. That's what we're seeing there, but there's nothing to animate, and that's why. So here, we've created a custom CSS animation, applied it to view transition old, new pseudo elements, added a number of other styles to both keep them in place. That's fine. Here, this works because view transition group transitions width and height between the old and new views. We just need to set a fixed height on both states to make it work. Which, God, oh, I'm not doing the height transition. So here, if I do height 100%, and the reason I want to get the view transitions to work is that if we can get them to work, then we'll be able to animate height, which is something you can't do without view transition. Let's bring this up. Click there. No. Click again. I mean, it's still jumping. But we can see if we inspect this div, this is the image div where we've given it the view transition name of image transition. This image using the height style attribute there. And the height of this is set in the grid. So here, if we look, this height is set here with the height. So we've got a fixed height of 320 And when I click again, the height has changed to be 240 pixels. When I click again, so we can see that we do have a fixed height. Actually, it just might be going to here. Transition name. It's an experimental property. So that one works. If two rendered elements have the same view transition name at the same time, view transition ready will reject and transition will be skipped. None means it won't participate. Separate view transition from root view transition. The identifier must be unique. We do have a unique identifier, and we can see that in our animations, because when we look, we've got the root transition here. So, and then we've got the image transition here. Got view transition new. Thing I'm curious about is go back and we look at the styles here. Maybe if we dock to the, so here, if we inspect this, we were seeing a view transition. You can see that change. But up here at the top, we're getting a view transition. Maybe, can we do, fill line numbers, grid overlay. Get back to abilities. Or so no, nothing there. Well, that's cool. We can toggle the prefers stuff here. Really cool. Moves box from the bottom to the side. View transition. How do I pause that? Because I can see it pop in. Click. Animations. Pause. So we've definitely paused our animations. If I pause that, pop this. Pause. Look at my here. There's my view transition. There we go. A little bit of experimentation, but we managed to stop it where we wanted it to be stopped. Go. So there's the root group. There is this group. Old image transition. New. What is badge? I don't know what that does. If we do a height, 240 pixels here. Here we do a height pixels. Hey, thank you for that. Long live Chaos 3. Twitch scan. Nice. Thank you for the follow though. I think I just need to figure out how view transitions work. So if I go back to I go back to our animations, play this. Oh, look at that. we're getting like a weird we're getting a weird effect. So that tells me that the stuff I've done in the current view transitions isn't right. So I need to figure out more about view transition. So we'll take a look at that before next time. I do need to stop. Gone over by quite a but thank you everybody for being here. May reach out to that I know and just see what they say about. But if we can get that to work, you guys saw how it was animating height, and animating height is like if we look at CSS animate height, most people will tell you, right, you can't. Zero and height auto, they're going to tell you to scale it, right? Max height and height, right? They're gonna tell you to scale the max height. They're also gonna say to use scale Y, which is something we could do. But they've got a height, max height. They're transitioning the margin. They're transitioning the max height to ridiculous. Which we can do with view transitions now to where it should just do it for us. I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out. But anyway, I do need to stop. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you, Long Live Chaos, for the follow. We will see you Thursday, where hopefully I've got this stuff figured out, and I can show you guys how to do it. I wanted to come into this blind, and I'm still going to go into the to the parallax scrolling blind. But I want to get this animation working because that's the first step in getting parallax to look nice. So we'll take a look at that. But you guys have a good rest of your week.